What is up, Renegades? My Ranger fans, my Ranger brothers and sisters. Welcome to Morphin Monday, Mini Monday. I don't know what we're calling it anymore. I like Morphin Monday. I think it's technically Mini Monday because, we don't always paint Power Ranger stuff, but I digress. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. Welcome however you're watching, wherever you're watching. Thank you for spending your time with me this evening. Today we are painting Mighty Morphin Trini, Yellow Ranger, inside of Dragon Armor. If you missed last stream, we painted this from bare plastic down to what you see here. We kind of made a spur of the moment, on the fly, live decision that rather than going with pure Canon photos, we found an alternate skin color on the internet while we were looking for reference photos, where someone made the I think it's in a video game, actually. It's a video game screen capture of Trini in dragon armor, but the dragon armor is the color scheme is meant to mimic the dragon Zord from Mighty Morphin. So we added that green and that gold and gave him more grayish metallist parts. What is going on with my camera? I don't know if that is showing up on film, but holy moly, my camera is like going out on me, I think. All right, so this is where we're at. Currently, tabletop standard, ready to go. But what I want to do, and if you watched last stream, you'll know exactly what we're doing here. What I want to do is I want to kind of take this miniature to the next level. So I really try hard to focus on doing beginner type techniques and make things very I don't even know, like beginner friendly, I guess. And this is still going to be beginner friendly, don't get me wrong. We're just going to take what many people would consider to be a tabletop standard, which is just a couple of colors, just to, look colorful on the table. We're going to kind of spice that up a little bit. So, anyway, primed the whole miniature in black spray primer, and then we did a Mechanicus standard gray as all of the lighter gray parts. So here on the chest armor, the legs, the tail, and then let's see, we did a Mephiston red on that little gem in the center. We did some Retributor armor for the gold. We did some Warpstone glow for the green. We did some Uriel yellow for the yellows. And that basically got us to this point. Now we're going to elevate that paint job a little bit. So first, I guess probably the most time-consuming part is going to be hitting all of the black. So to do that, we're going to start with black. So I'm going to use Abaddon Black. It is a Citadel paint. I've got my palette, my brushes, my water, everything right by me, ready to go. I'm actually on top of it today. Mostly because I have been really focusing today, getting ready for the stream. I really want this. This kind of turned into a bit of a passion project for me last time that we painted, because normally I just do, normally we just do that tabletop standard and then call it a day. I'm going to move this over here, get some more color. So right now what I'm going to do is take that Abaddon Black, and I'm just going to go over all of the black bits. Now, why am I going over the black when it was already black? It's very splotchy. You can't see it on the screen, but it's not very smooth, so I'm going to just kind of smooth it out really quickly. This is a quick process. I don't need it to be perfect. I guess I'm just kind of smoothing out the... and this is from putting a wash on the whole thing. We put a wash on the whole thing last time. So we're going to just clean that up a bit. I'm not even going to do it on the whole thing, honestly. Just on... just on some of the wider, flatter surfaces, because, again, in person, you're going to see all of that. Maybe not so much on the camera. Real quick process. I'm not being... I mean, I'm being, like, not messy, but I'm also not being slow and careful, if that makes sense. All these like real flat surfaces here, like this chest armor, it just looks very splotchy from the wash. So I'm just reapplying the black really quickly to undo the splotch. That's what we'll say. Undo the splotch. The great thing about the black is that it's very easy to fix mistakes on the black. Not so much if you get black on other parts, but on the actual black, it's very easy to fix mistakes. Pretty happy with that. Again, it does not need to be perfect. I'm just hitting those flatter surfaces. We're gonna rego. We're gonna rego over all of that anyway in a bit. Now we're gonna grab our Mechanicus Standard Gray. We're gonna do something very, very similar. This is going to be a tad bit more time consuming. I shouldn't say a tad bit. It's going to be a lot more time consuming because there's a lot more of that gray plastic. But that's okay. Okay. Hit that. Really kind of want to leave the darker gray back in those recesses, so back up against the walls of the indentation, I guess. You really want to try and be careful with that part because you don't want the paint to go all the way into the recesses, because then you ruin your the the effect that you were going for in the first place. While you're doing this step, it's a really good idea to kind of in your mind be mapping out where you're going to put your highlights. So like as I'm going around all of this gray, I'm seeing where the darker spots are in the cracks and crevices and the recesses and all that good stuff. And I'm kind of in my mind, I'm like, okay, right there, I'm going to make a line highlight or an edge highlight right there. I'm going to leave stuff in the recesses right there, etc. Really just kind of saves on time, and it helps you when you're painting later in later steps to kind of have already figured out where exactly your highlights are going to go. Go here on these edges. It's a good idea also during this step to make sure that your paints are really well watered down. You don't want anything to be cakey during this step. If anything, you want it to be lighter than kind of even what your eyeballs see. So even when you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, this is too light, I want it to be a little thicker or whatever, trust me, you want it to be a little thinner than even you realize. So what I usually do during a section of a miniature like this is I water it down more than I think I need it to be, and then I water it down just a little bit more than that. And when I'm done, I always usually am happy that I did that. Because while it's wet, it's going to look... How do I say this correctly? When the paint is really wet, it's not... It's easier to push around, but it's also more difficult to gauge just how it's going to dry. So the wetter it is, the more difficult it is to kind of gauge what it's going to look like dried. At least in my experience. Because you can always go back over it later to make it brighter or whatever. I hope that all of that makes sense. Sometimes I think I'm just rambling. Not making any sense. Hopefully that made sense. Sometimes it's so difficult to see in here. Trying to get the light closer to me here. There we go. It's a little better. Hey, now I can see. So I don't know if you can kind of tell the difference there between this leg and that leg. The difference is my the highlighting there that I did. And it's not even really highlighting so much as it is just reapplying the base coat to try and pull back, brighten up some of that stuff that got darker from the wash. Remember, everything that I'm doing right now is completely unnecessary. If you have followed along with me and you are at the same spot that I'm at now, it is okay for you to stop. Do not feel like everything that I'm doing now is like you're a bad painter if you can't or don't want to do it. That's so far from the truth, it's not even funny. There was a time in my painting life where I kind of had a conversation with myself, and of course, this is a hypothetical conversation. I didn't actually have a conversation with myself, but where I kind of made the decision, the conscious decision that I was going to learn how to paint beyond a tabletop standard. And there was really just a few small things that I did that I think really took it from, that to this. And I think if you want to do that, it's totally doable. I don't think it's outside of anybody's skill grasp. Legs are looking great. the more time-consuming part, obviously, is going to be the back. Yeah. Make sure we get this trim around the face. Looks pretty cool, not gonna lie. This whole idea of changing the color scheme to go with the Dragon Zord. It's a pretty good idea. Thank you to the video game that inspired this this design. little bit bigger of panels back here than I remember, so this is going to take a couple minutes longer than I thought it was going to take, but that's okay. Nothing worth doing is done quickly. You know what they say? It's probably not what they say. Well, listen to me, kids. Stay in school. So we're just re-highlighting up. We're reapplying base coat to cover up the streakiness left by the wash when we put the wash on there. It also helps with highlighting, which you will see in a moment. Once we get past the this part, which admittedly is the least fun part of painting, in my opinion, is the reapplying of the paint after the wash has settled. I've gotten away from doing a wash recently because it's just so time consuming. This part is just so time consuming, and this whole step you don't do unless you're doing a wash. Actually dry brush the rest of this tail. See what happens. Nah, we'll just finish doing it like this. How's everybody doing out there? We hanging in there? I know it's probably not the most entertaining thing to watch, but I promise that it's all part of the process. We'll just go down the left side and then turn it over and do the right side. It's probably the best way to handle the rest of this here. Another day, another dollar. It's probably more like another day, another 50 cents. Almost there. Almost there. Some people will say that the step that I'm taking right now is still technically a tabletop standard step. So whereas I said earlier we were at the tabletop standard with the wash on there, in the community some people think that reapplying the base coat after the wash is, you know, the tabletop standard. First of all, let me just say that the tabletop standard is completely made up. There's no book or anything that says you must paint your stuff like this. That's the standard. It's more of like an unwritten guideline, I guess. I wouldn't even call it a rule, more of a guideline. So, some stores I have seen in the past, like with certain games, I won't mention the games because they're not Renegade games, but, you know, they'll have like a tournament or something like that. And part of there'll be like door prizes or something. And it's like, okay, whoever has, you know, the largest army painted to a tabletop standard, you know, will get a raffle ticket or something like that. And I use that as an example because I've actually seen that happen more than one time. Different stores. So it must be a relatively common thing that essentially you are, you know, getting entered into drawings or giveaways based on your army painting and stuff like that. But obviously everybody's skill's different, so they'll put something on that says something like, you know, like I said, whoever has the largest army painted to a tabletop standard or something along those lines. So in that case, kind of the standard rule of thumb for a tabletop standard is probably, I think it's 3 colors. So you have to have at least 3 colors outside of your primer color. one way to cheat with that is if you are painting like an army that is, let's say, all blue. If you know, you know. And you can just prime all of the miniatures in blue. And the blue counts as both your primer and a color. I guess it would suck if your army was all white. Going with that red. The Mephiston red. Highlighting back up my reds. Yeah, if you had a white army, like your army was all like your primary color was white, and you primed it in white, that doesn't count. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's base color plus 3 colors. It might be base color plus 3 colors. It might not just be 3 colors. It might be... I guess it probably depends on the store, too. That's just my experience, has been 3 colors. So like with Trini, you paint her in black, you primer in black, which we did, and then if you were to do like the yellow, that's 1, the gray, that's 2, and the mouthpiece, which is silver, that's 3, that would be tabletop standard. Again, at least the places that I've been, that I've seen that. Your local scene might be different. Oh, there we go. Grab my Warpstone Glow. You'll know how much I love/hate that color. This color bugs me so much. It's so streaky. It's crazy. Like, I don't even know, like, what I'm, like... I'm gonna have to watch some videos on how people paint green. But just this color in particular is just rough. Maybe I need more water. Maybe that's part of my problem. I don't think it's entirely my problem, but it definitely can't hurt to add a little more water. I think it's probably true that you can't really dilute your water or your paints too much, because you can always add layers to build it up. But it is true the opposite. If your paint's too dry. The little knee pads here are looking rough. Little knee and this part around here. Might have to go over the green more than one time. Well, I think that's probably it for the green, which means we only have the gold, right? Cool. Alright, so you can see where we're much, much brighter colors than we were when we first started. Now I'm going to grab my Retributor armor. We're going to knock out that gold really quickly, and then should be good to go. Could do some yellow too for the yellow parts, but we can save that for later also. So now we're just with our Retributor armor, our gold. And just like that, our gold was nice and shiny. All right, we're in a good spot. I don't know what color we should highlight first. Probably, we'll just go with the, you know what, we'll go with the black first. So our first highlight color for the black is going to be my favorite color, which is somewhere, there it is. German Gray by Vallejo. It says it somewhere on there. There it goes. German Gray. This is going to be our first black highlight. Alright, I gotta figure out where I want these highlights to go. Some edge highlighting here. Some sharp edges. Trying to use the edge of my brush, going around, popping the lines out. So just some edge highlighting with this around, well, the edges. The edge highlight goes on the edges. Let's switch to our lighter gray. Start hitting the edge highlights with that. What are we using? We're using Dawnstone. Dawnstone will be our highlight for the Mechanicus Standard Gray, which is like the legs and the other light gray highlights. Same thing, edge highlight. Maybe some extra highlight in some other areas. Let's see. There's really no rhyme or reason. Well, I shouldn't say there's no rhyme or reason. Not everyone's highlighting is going to look exactly the same, even on the same miniature. Because you, as the artist, need to decide where the light is coming from when it hits your model, and you know how you want your highlights to look. Do you want them to be over exaggerated like I'm doing, or do you want them to be more subtle? I like big over exaggerated lines because I feel like it pops a little more. Especially if I'm painting a miniature quickly. Now, if I had all the time in the world, this miniature would probably take me, my guess is about 4 streams. This stream probably would have been, like, I probably would not have gotten as far as I did last stream. I would have gone a lot slower. Alex, what's up? Pop in my head and say hi. I miss you. Where the heck have you been, dude? I feel like I haven't talked to you in like a year. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you stopped in and popped your head in. I hope that you're doing well. Hope life is keeping you busy and not, you know. I hope the reasons that you're missing the stream are good reasons. You know. I hope you're all right. Yeah, life, man. I get it. I get it. Well, regardless of your reasoning, I'm glad that you are here now. Thank you very much for stopping in and saying hi. It means a lot. It really does. I don't do this too much anymore. Not like I used to back in the day, you know? Road trip right now. Currently in Maine. You'll be in Massachusetts in like 48 hours. Nice. Fun road trip or work? What's your road trip for? Fun. Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad that it's a fun trip and not a boring work trip. Traveling with my brother. Nice. Well, I am glad you're getting some brother time. I know I said this earlier, but I really do think that I am going to dry brush the tail. I don't know why, I just feel like that's a good idea. I feel like that's a banger idea. Dry brushing. I really, really like that we made this look like the dragon sword, man. That's so cool. Oh, man, that's great. I do need some yellow to knock out this, should I do flash gets? We'll go Uriel. Uriel yellow. I'm gonna highlight that horn. The unicorn horn. Look at that. How's life? Well, busy, I guess. My son finished college, didn't finish college, but, did the whole, like, semester's over, moved back home, and decided that he's not leaving again. So now I have a 20-year-old living in my house. And it's like, it's one of those things, like, I would kick him out because that's what my parents would have done to me. But kids just don't have anywhere to go anymore. You know what I mean? Like he's got a job now with benefits and everything. And he just, like, after he pays his bills, which are very, like, minor, you know what I mean? Like, very, very minor bills, like car insurance and cell phone. And there's just no way he would be able to afford a place. He would have to get roommates in the middle of BFE. You know? You've been working since retirement. Yes, I got another job right after I retired, so I kind of went from one job to the other, which has been okay. Do I wish that I could just retire and be done? Yes, but the fact that I was 38 when I retired the first time, like, it's probably unrealistic for me to think that I can just not work anymore. But yeah, work's okay. Not terrible. I would just rather not do anything. I'm not one of those people where, like, there's the people who are like, man, I could never retire. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I'd be so bored. I know exactly what I would do with myself, and I would never be bored. Ever. I guess that's the thing with having hobbies like painting and stuff. I would never be bored. Yeah, message me on Facebook. We'll chat. For sure. Go back to your brother, man. Go enjoy your trip. I really, really appreciate that you stopped in to say hey, though. Really. Miss chatting with you. Did I ever do the shirtless stream? No, I didn't. And you know why I didn't? Because I knew that you wouldn't get to see it, and that just would be totally not cool. I was like, oh man, now that Alex doesn't watch anymore, he can't do the shirtless stream because I didn't want you to feel left out. I was trying to experiment with some of these green colors, and I'm just glad you're good. When Renegade quit sponsoring the weekly streams and stuff, yeah. Well, it's tough. Yeah, only doing it once a month, it's hard to remember, like, well, what days is he doing it? And, you know, sometimes it's like the first Monday of the month, and then if the first Monday is like, you know, the first or second, then usually we push it to like the following week. So it's not really the first. It's tough. I get it. Reach out to Renegade. Let them know that you want to see me more than once a week or more than once a month. Community feedback is the best way to get more of these to happen, for sure. It's a little bit too much on the bright green. We're gonna have to dull that down a little bit. Yeah, you're like BFFs with Scott, right? Go hit him up. The next thing that I want to do for Renegade is I want them to let me paint some Heroescape for them. Because, man, back in the day, Heroescape was my jam. Heroescape was my thing. I don't think that these little things on the back here are supposed to be painted green. But I like it. Good to see you too, buddy. Take care. Man, this mini is turning out so good. Let's see. Need some red. Which red do I want? Let's do some Evil Sun Scarlet. Haven't used that color in a while. Evil Sun Scarlet is like the next color in the Mephiston Red triad of colors from Citadel. Really good when you're like highlighting up your reds. All right, chat, what do we think? How are we feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to start working on the base a little bit while we let some of these other colors dry and let my brain kind of think about what's next. I don't even really know what to do with the base, to be honest. I feel like this is one of those minis that requires... It deserves a good base. It deserves something more than just color. So, this has now become a basing video. Yes! I do rather enjoy basing miniatures when I have the time. Question is, what kind of base do we want to do? Grass or rock? Here's what we're gonna do. If you've never watched one of my videos of me basing a miniature, I'm gonna go through the process from start to finish, just so that everyone is all on the same page. So the first thing that you're gonna need is Elmer's glue, or some kind of white craft glue. I use Elmer's. Use whatever you want. There are many brands. I'm going to put, we'll use this spot right here. And put some, actually we'll go here. It's better. I'm going to put some glue there on my palette. Can't really see it because it's, there you go. Now you can see it. And I'm going to dilute it with water. This is just regular water. And an old paintbrush. And we're just diluting the glue. You'll know or you'll at least have a general idea. You want to be able to brush it on like paint, but you don't want it to be too watery. I put too much water. So you want to be able to paint it on. So about the consistency of the paint when it comes out of the pot, not once you've watered it down. And then I'm going to take this off of this base. I've got some gravel. And then I'm just going to paint the glue on. I'm going to make sure we get in between his toes. You want to make sure that you have really good coverage. Otherwise, the gravel will not stick to certain spots. Okay, you can kind of see the glue kind of settling. You can't because then you hold the mini over your stuff here. Sprinkle it on. There's no such thing as too much, but there is such thing as not enough for this step anyway, because you want to make sure that that really sticks. Tap it off. Okay, let that set for a second. Are there any minis you are looking forward to painting from the new Mission Critical and Heroes of the Grid expansions announced last month? Let's look. I say let's look because I honestly just I just don't remember. Let's see. Here's the. Well, that's not it. Here we go. What is happening right now? Well, I had it pulled up earlier. I can't find it now. Oh, here it is. The beetle guy. The blue. Isn't there like a beetle ranger in the Ranger Allies pack 4? It just kind of popped in my head. I seriously can't find it. The blue beetle looking guy looks really cool. From the Power Rangers one. I think, yeah, the Power Rangers one. That's probably the one, of the ones that I remember off the top of my head, that's probably the one that I am most looking forward to. All right, now that that's kind of dry a little, I'm going to go back over it lightly with more glue. In certain spots. And then I'm going to put a little more. Yeah, the navy. The navy one. I'm gonna go with this dark stuff. I have so many like different basing things. This is like a grass, like a dark grass. Although I can't even open it. Okay, we're not doing that one. I legit couldn't open it. Green grass. We're going to go with green grass. Because that one I can open. This is just some flock. Alright, more of that glue. I'm going to put some splotches. Again, this is one of those things that, like, I wouldn't normally do all of this right now. Don't rush like I am. Make sure that you're taking your time, and make sure that you're letting stuff dry before you just do what I'm doing, because I don't have the luxury of letting things dry. Otherwise, you know, it would take me 35 streams to do the base alone. And I got some tufts. And there's basing stuff all over my desk now, so that's cool. I just got back from vacation. Sorry I'm late. What's the green powder? It's not powder, it's just flock. It's just like basing flock. It's just in this. I labeled it grass. It's obviously not grass. It's just green flock. I got different kinds. I got white for snow. I got like a light brown, like a darker brown, like an even darker brown. I don't know where I got it from. I've had it like forever. Okay, let's see. Where are my tweezers? Well, here's some tweezers. These are not the tweezers I was looking for, but we are just going to use those anyway. So I like using super glue for flock, or for tufts. So that's what I'm going to use. I also don't love that this color flock is, or these tufts are not the same color as the flock, but again, due to time constraints, this is what we got to go with. So I do like a little dab of glue, grab the tuft with my tweezers, and then I just pick a spot and set it down. Again, you probably want to let all of this stuff dry first. And you can do this in a different order. This is the order that I've chosen to do it here, but probably not the order in which I would do it. I would probably... I'd probably put down like one or two larger rocks on the base with glue. And then I would do the tufts next, and then I would do like all of the flock after. Like that stuff would be, the gravel and the flock would be last. Let's do one more. I'm feeling it today. Bum, bum, bum. All right. So then we just run our finger around the edge of the base there, knock off that stuff that I've never used clear glue, to be honest with you, so I can't comment. I've only ever used white glue. I'd imagine it doesn't matter. You just need to make sure that the glue, like, you don't want the glue to be clumpy, so it's really about learning what a good ratio of water to glue is to dilute your water. Like we did this, what, like 5 minutes ago, and that watered down glue is already like dried on the outside. I'm like having to really scrape to get this stuff off. But yeah, 100% make sure that you let your glue dry in between each step. Don't do what I just did, which is back to back. Especially that Elmer's glue, or that white glue. You want to make sure that that's nice and dry before you move on to something else. I also have a fan on next to me, which hopefully you guys can't hear. And the fan is kind of blowing onto my desk, so that's going to help me dry that faster. One of my friends, I was talking to him recently about my streaming, And I told him that, you know, one of my biggest challenges with streaming is, like, I don't have the luxury of letting stuff dry the way that I would if I was painting on my own, right? If I was painting on my own, I'd put a coat of something on, I'd get up, go get a drink, come back, you know, work on something a little bit more, etc. Look, this is all the basic stuff. I don't have that luxury on you know, stream. And he said to me, the craziest idea I've ever heard. Brilliant. I say crazy. It's really not crazy. I should have thought of it myself. He said to me, he said, Louie, why don't you just put a hairdryer next to your desk? Crazy. I was like, that's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? That was about a month he recommended that to me. And I still don't have a hairdryer on my desk. All right, I'm going to grab some black. We need to reapply black to the edge there. Yeah, clear glue probably works just fine. I think maybe one of the downsides to using clear glue is just like you're gonna have to dilute it in order to be able to brush it on. And if it's clear, you're gonna have a hard time getting the consistency right. Because with white glue, you can, you know, it's easier to tell how diluted your glue is based on the color. But again, I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking off the top of my head. That would be a challenge, I think. Which is not to say it's not possible. You might want to think about that when you're diluting your water, just to be a little more cautious. Did I just say diluting your water? In my head, that's what I heard myself say. And that's really what I said, then I apologize, because that's not. Obviously, you can't dilute water. Or can you? Diluted water is just water, right? Yeah, you'd have to use low heat, and you'd have to do it from a distance, for sure. You wouldn't want to use high heat hairdryer. And I would be reluctant to do it like with the basing once I've already gotten the rest of the mini where I want it, because like you said, I wouldn't want to screw it up with the heat. All right, let's see where we're at here. I think I'm in a pretty good spot. Can't really, there's nothing to hold on to at the moment. It's way too close. It's closer. Trini's ready for battle, guys. Let that dry another second, and then we'll... I have basing stuff everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Make sure that you, when you're painting, make sure you clean up your mess. You always want to make sure that you know where all of your stuff is. I have a tendency to not do that. And then I'll sit down to paint, and I don't know where any of my stuff is. Everywhere. It's in places that I didn't put it. Like, how did paint get all the way over here? And basing stuff I don't understand. Oh my goodness gracious. Where's my... Oh, there it is. Alright, let's put her back on the stand now. Some more paint on her eyes. All right. Here she is, Trini in dragon armor. And the dragon armor is meant to be themed towards the green dragon Zord with that green and gold highlights. Pretty happy with the way that it turned out. Again, I could probably spend hours longer, more highlighting, but beyond where we're at now, this is beyond a tabletop standard. This is you pushing your miniature, your painting kind of to the next level, right? We didn't incorporate any techniques that a beginner doesn't already know. Probably the most advanced technique that we used was the dry brushing, which, you know, is not a terribly advanced technique. And then we did the basing, which was kind of unexpected, and I really like the way that it turned out. I like how it kind of makes the green and stuff on the miniature pop a bit. I think it's just the theme is really nice. Yes, the Black Dragon was made from the remains of the Dragon Zord. That is true. Oh no, there's a piece of... I don't want that on there. It's a little bit of black. A little black smudge. Okay, there we go. I don't know what she said, but I like it. Alright, guys. There's really... I could just sit here and talk to you for another 15 minutes and just hold the miniature and go like this. But there's really nothing else that I want to do to it beyond what I've already done. So just to recap, whole process, right? Step one or part one, you can go watch that over on the YouTube channel now. We primed the miniature with a black spray primer, and then once we did that, we kind of made the decision right here live on the channel that we were going to do this Dragon Zord style paint job. So we painted the legs, the tail, and these little bits here in Mechanicus Standard Gray. We then painted the gold with Retributor Armor and the green with Warpstone Glow, and then of course her face with the Uriel Yellow, the black, and the silver. And then we covered the entire thing in Nuln Oil, and we called it a day. Then we came back today. We reapplied basically all of the base colors. So the Mechanicus Standard Gray, some of the black, the green, the gold, etc. And then we highlighted, so the black was highlighted with German Gray. The light gray was highlighted with Dawnstone. I then mixed in a little moot green with my Warpstone to kind of highlight up the green a little bit. Retributor Armor for the gold stayed the same. I didn't do anything special with that. That was mostly the highlights, and then the base, you're going to take some craft glue, dilute it down, paint it onto your base, covered the base with like a fine gravel, then reapplied some glue on a few spots where we put that green whatever I called that stuff. I can't even remember now. Flock. Some green flock. We had some green tufts. We glued those on there. Black around the base. And then a couple little touch-ups here and there. And she is ready to go. She is ready for the table. If you enjoyed this, make sure that you let us know. I say us. Let Renegade know. Let Renegade know how much you enjoy these streams. That really helps me out. It gets me on the camera more for you guys. So we like to hear feedback, what you like to see, what you don't like to see. Next month, let's see. Let me look at the calendar for August. Should be August 5th. I haven't heard any differently. So right now we're shooting for August 5th. It should be a G.I. Joe stream. Technically, this one should have been a G.I. Joe because we did Power Rangers last time, but I really wanted to get this miniature painted up a little more. It got places I didn't put it. That's true. It did get in places I didn't put stuff. Oh, you meant the... Okay. Yep. I'm going to be quiet now. So, yeah. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, hanging out with me today. Make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of each other. You play your games. You paint your miniatures. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.